Hi guys, I am Dr. Lisa Forzani. Some of you may know me as the Cooking Cairo from our Facebook Live. And today we are making our amazing transition to YouTube. We're so excited about this and we hope that you enjoy all of our segments. And here we go. So today I decided that the next few videos that we are going to talk about the most amazing comfort foods with our little tiny twists in them. So many of you don't know this about me. I always talk about my Mediterranean cooking and how I always lean towards Mediterranean food. But actually, I'm a very good portion also Northwestern European / Irish. My grandparent is from Ireland and actually from Irish descent from Canada. So we are going to be talking today about the history and also shepherd pie. So shepherd pie actually is a casserole. It's a layered casserole with mashed potatoes and meat and vegetables, and it used to be known as a peasant dish. Now, we all know that there are so many peasant dishes that are so amazingly delicious and yummy to eat. So, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about our mashed potatoes. So, shepherd pie, as we know, is actually an Irish dish, but what came before it? The cottage pie, which is from England. So, England actually is where our shepherd's pie actually comes from / cottage pie. So, the difference is this. Cottage pie was made with beef and shepherd's pie was made with lamb. So tonight, technically, we are going to be making cottage pie because we're going to make it with beef. So right now we're going to talk about our potatoes, and what we did was we took about 1.5 pounds of russet potatoes, peeled them, cubed them, put them in boiling water for about 15 to 20 minutes until you could actually break them apart because you want them nice and soft. So here's our potatoes. We're going to add some butter. We're going to actually add a half a stick of butter. And I always tell you, try to use butter that is unsalted because each brand uses a certain amount of salt and we don't know what that is. So we're going to add about 1/2 cup of half and half, or if you really want it decadent, you can actually use cream. And me, I couldn't help myself. I love cheese, couldn't get away from my Italian roots. We're going to put 1/2 cup of Parmigiano cheese. And we're going to add a smidge of black pepper, about a teaspoon, and then about a tablespoon of kosher salt. Just mashing our potatoes and smushing around all that yummy cream and butter. So now we are making our meat filling, but we're going to start with our vegetables. The first 2 vegetables we're going to start with is a cup of onion, and we're going to take 2 carrots that we sliced thin, and we're going to put them into our olive oil and let that saute. It's going to take about 3 to 4 minutes or longer until our onions are translucent and our carrots are a little bit soft. The other alternative you could do is you could add your vegetables that are frozen, but we decided to use some fresh vegetables in our shepherd's pie. So right now we have our onions and our carrots right where we want them. Next we're going to add in our ground beef. You want to make sure you use a ground beef that is about 90% because we are not going to take out the oil from the meat. We're just going to swirl that around and let it cook for a couple minutes. But we don't want to make this too many steps. We want to make it really easy for you. So as that cooks, we'll get our other ingredients started. So as our ground beef is cooking in together for our cottage pie, we're going to put our garlic in. So next what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of flour, about 2 tablespoons, over our meat. So as we know, this is like a peasant dish too because it filled a lot of appetites at a real good budget. But it's so tasty. It's so much fun to eat. So we're just going to stir up the meat with our olive oil, our carrots, our garlic, and our onion. And it's going to thicken it up a little bit with the flour. This is what it looks like once the flour has incorporated into the meat and into your olive oil and vegetable mix. So a lot of people have asked, where did they get the name cottage pie from? So cottage pie is actually, the origin is from England when the peasants used to live in these little cottages and they would feed them cottage pie. Why? Because it was easy to put together. The meats and the potatoes and the vegetables were accessible during that time, and it was fairly inexpensive way to fill their little appetites. So that's how we got cottage pie, and then it switched over to shepherd's pie in Ireland and became a very big dish made with lamb. So it depends if you like lamb or you like beef. Do you like the English? Do you like the Irish? I know they did not like each other back in the 1500s, but hopefully they like each other today. So now we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire, which will give it a nice tangy flavor. Tomato paste, 2 tablespoons. And you can hear it sizzling. You should smell how good it smells. Yummy! So we're going to squish that around and get all those flavors together. They marry up together so nice. We just love the way this tastes when it's all done. And because we put flour in it, it's going to thicken up too, which is nice. Next, we're going to add a little bit of our herbs from our garden. We have thyme, we have parsley, and if you like rosemary, rosemary is another spice that is put in. I assume that rosemary is probably even better with the lamb because those pair up so well together. And lastly, we're going to drop in our vegetables. We have a cup of corn. You could use frozen corn, you could use canned corn, you could even use a peas, carrot, and corn mixture. And then a little bit of salt. This up all together, and we're going to let it simmer for about 10 minutes. So at this point your meat is just about done with all your vegetables cooked together, and your mashed potatoes should already be done, and we're ready to assemble our casserole. So at this point we're going to bring over our casserole dish. Use whatever you like, Pyrex. As you guys know, I love my organic parchment paper. It does save you a lot of time with cleaning also. So I put this in here and I sprayed a little bit of oil in it as well so that it won't stick. We're going to assemble now, so stay tuned. Okay, so now we're going to take our meat combination with our vegetables and we're going to put it into our casserole pan. And you can really use any kind of meat that you like. If you like veal better, if you like pork, whatever you like, you could pretty much do. And we're going to also talk about a spin on doing this vegetarian. And I wanted to talk about a non-shepherd pie, which would be more of a vegetarian option. So instead of using the beef or the lamb, you could actually combine this entire recipe and put a vegetable incorporated into this lovely, warming, yummy, heartwarming food during the fall. So I would recommend put perhaps some butternut squash that's been cooked down already, and you can put that into your shepherd's pie. and you'll have a nice vegetarian choice. So now we're just going to spread our meat around the casserole pan. Now the Scottish actually make something similar to this too, and they like, allegedly, to put the mashed potatoes underneath and kind of almost make it into a pie underneath as a crust, and then also top it with the potatoes. So don't worry about it being exactly perfect, just spread it out so that the meat is even on each side, but don't worry about it being perfect. So now we're going to take our wonderful mashed potatoes that have our Parmesan cheese and cream and butter in them, and we're just going to plop it on top. And now we're just going to spread our mashed potatoes over our meat and vegetable combination. You want to make sure that you seal the corners, each corner up against the pan. This smells so good. So at this point, our casserole is pretty much done. But I must say, I had to add my own little spin because I know how much my family loves cheese. So we're going to add some sharp cheddar cheese to the top, and we're going to let that bake in to the pie and just add a little more decadency to our yummy cottage pie. So we're just going to spread the rest of our cheese, and then just for a little bit of a decoration, we're going to put a little bit of seasoning on there. I'm going to put a little bit of crushed parsley just to make it look all pretty, because I always love to decorate with my beautiful herbs from the garden. So now what we're going to do is put it in the oven for about 45 minutes. So let's do it. I have it on 400. I'm going to stick it all the way into the oven, all the way to the back of the oven, so it really cooks nicely. We're just about ready to serve our shepherd's pie, also known as cottage pie, depending on whether you have lamb or beef. So what do we serve with that? We today are going to make some broccoli rabe. So a nice vegetable would go really nicely, a green vegetable, whether it be string beans, broccoli. You could also serve some kind of biscuits with it, which I was going to make today, but we'll make that on another show. And we're going to have a nice green salad to go with it. Bon appetit! So this has been so much fun making shepherd's cottage pie. I hope you all have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's been really delightful to be here with you guys. Just make sure that you subscribe to our channel. We are so excited about our little shift in doing our videos for you, and we hope you join us next week for more segments. And tell your friends, tell your family about the Cooking Cairo, and just remember, live well, love well, and eat well.